What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It has been a while since I had a top 10 positional breakdown for the 2021 NFL Draft, but we are back with the top 10 running backs for this upcoming draft class. And I know what you're thinking. TFG, haven't you heard? Running backs, who cares? You can find them anywhere. Well, I like a good running backs joke as much as the next guy. But the one thing I will say is that the reason running backs are devalued and so replaceable is because of the draft. So if you're going to get excited about running backs, you might as well do it where you're getting cheap rookie contracts. You can find guys in the 4th, 5th round that will become the next Aaron Jones per se. So I do get excited about the running backs. I'm really excited for this video. Before we get started, I want to remind you to A, please do hit that like button down below, and B, if you enjoyed this video, my draft content, I encourage you to check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/thatfranchiseguy. You will get exclusive draft content, things like exclusive film breakdowns. I just did 2 really fun ones on Elijah Moore and Christian Barmore. You'll get team-specific 7-round mock drafts starting up here very soon, and beyond that, if there's any running backs that don't make this list or any player at any position you want to know my analysis on, you can get access to my full comprehensive draft board. It's going to have breakdowns on every player in this class. So you get access to all that good draft stuff, can check all that out, and the ultimate dual threat. You will support the channel in the process. It is April 3rd, so first week of the month. It's a great time to sign up. I appreciate you checking that out in advance. Let's go ahead and get into it. Enough jibber jabber. So my number 10 running back is a player I'm super excited to talk about. I think he's one of the better sleepers in this class as a whole, and it's Puka Williams out of Kansas. And I know your first thought, Kansas? Really? Not exactly a program known for their winning tradition. But I think that's part of what makes Puka such a sleeper. So he's 5'9", 175. I'll talk about what he is as a player in just a second. But a little bit on his backstory. He poured his heart and soul into this program. And you see that height and weight, and you think scat back, that's not how he was used. He has over 400 attempts. In his first 2 seasons, you'll see he's coming out as a true junior here. He had over 1,000 yards and was really efficient in doing so as a full 3-down runner for them. So he has that experience. And then in that junior season that was really for a lot of teams just a waste with COVID, 4 games in, he wasn't getting the production. His team stank. They were getting their ass kicked. And he was like, I'm out, dude. I have put my heart into this program. I've got nothing left to show. And he kind of used COVID to get out and get a jump on his NFL career. So like a lot of COVID opt-outs, he only played 4 games in 2020. You know, he's a little bit under the radar for that reason. I like that about him. And he took some of that wear off his tires as well. So his story really resonates with me. But as a football player, he's even more exciting. So you see the height and weight, 5'9", 175. He's got the speed. He's got the quickness. Absolutely. He can be a 3rd down running back, you know, catch balls out of the backfield, make guys miss. That is where the Nyheim Hines comparison comes in for the Colts, who's great in that role. I think he can be as good as Nyheim Hines at doing so. But there's an added upside in there in that he was such a tough runner at Kansas, and he's got good vision and balance, and he'll break some arm tackles. Obviously, he doesn't have any power. He's not going to be a true 3-down player, but if it's 3rd and 4, he's a threat to fight up in between the tackles and get a tough 1st down. He's not a true 3rd down back. I think he is the perfect relief running back in these outside zone offenses, like your Shanahan systems, which almost half the league is running nowadays, where he can also be a legitimate almost 3-down back for you, because if you block it up, he's going to be like Raheem Mostert, where he's just hitting a hole, maybe he breaks an arm tackle here or there, and he's gone. It doesn't really matter how much power he has. Now, other systems, he's not going to work so well as a every down running back, but if you put him in the right system, think about maybe as a complement to a Raheem Mostert, or if Green Bay had let Aaron Jones go, he would have been a great complement to an A.J. Dillon, to a Derrick Henry in Tennessee, to a Dalvin Cook, and well, they've got Madison, but you get the point. As that complement to the lead back in those systems, I think, and then a guy that comes in on 3rd down could be a great compliment to Derrick Henry. I know they drafted a guy last year. That's a tangent. but a guy that can catch the ball in the backfield very well. So I get excited about Pooka Williams. He's a super fun watch. I love his grit for a guy that's so small. And of course, you fall in love with the speed and athleticism. So Pooka Williams, to me, one of those kind of COVID sleepers this year that you should absolutely have your eye on. Then my number 9 running back, he also has major sleeper potential. Chuba Hubbard out of Oklahoma State. And I'm pretty scared that I'm going to end up having him ranked too low, to be honest. And maybe come draft day, I bump him up. But 2019 Chuba Hubbard, 2020 Chuba Hubbard. Which one are you getting? A lot of you guys are going to be familiar with this player. He was supposed to come out last year. He was a projected kind of top 50 player in the class, potentially a first-round pick last year. And if he didn't play at all in 2020, I'm going to be honest, he'd probably be like my 4th running back on this list, but he did. And he wasn't as explosive. He didn't make as many guys miss. It just wasn't there. And on tape, he just didn't seem to be the same guy. And you just got to wonder, why is that? Can you get 2019 Chuba Hubbard back? There's just some added uncertainty there. Now, I do think there's a good chance you can get that guy back. I know he was battling some injuries, which could explain it, but are those injuries going to nag? Is it a kind of permanent stain on his athleticism? That's a question mark. And also just kind of, I can understand why at this position, he wasn't anticipating COVID kind of wrecking their year. He wanted to come back, play in front of the fans, be this awesome running back on this fun team, and the season just kind of derailed everything. And when you play running back, it is a lot about effort. And I do question about if he kind of got his mind ready for the NFL a little bit too soon and it impacted his play. So can you get him back in the rhythm of that super explosive speed train of a runner that we saw in 2019, and another guy that'd be a perfect scheme fit in these outside zone offenses, which again, about half the league is running that Shanahan system where you give him a lane on the outside and just let him run away from everybody. He can be a perfect fit, especially with how good he is at running through arm tackles, at least how good he was at that in 2019, where he didn't show nearly as much of it in 2020. So I do believe in Chuba Hubbard. I will not be surprised if he exceeds this ranking, but based on his 2020 tape, it is a little bit more difficult to rank him ahead of these other guys who just showed to be a little more explosive more recently. So that's the Chuba Hubbard breakdown. I do like Chuba Hubbard. I would definitely be considering him in like the 4th round. He's very similar to my number 8 running back here, Kylan Hill. And Kylan Hill's a little bit different. I think he's got a little bit more true power, a little bit more short area burst, I would say. Neither of these guys, Chuba Hubbard or Kylan Hill, are particularly shifty. They're not like quick, short area, juice types of dudes. But Kylan Hill does have that short area burst. When he picks kind of the direction that he wants to go, he hits it really hard. And it comes with a lot of power as well. And that's where the Tevin Coleman comp comes in. I do think he would fit an outside offense, but I think he could also play a little bit more confident between the trenches. I like that he came in 2020 and put to bed a lot of questions about his efficiency in the receiving game. And he's another player that only played 4 games in 2020 and was like, yep, I've shown all I need to see, all I need scouts to see, and I'm going to get out of here and get ready for the draft. So Kylan Hill and Chuba Hubbard, I think, are very good options in the 4th round, and guys that have starter upside and the traits you look for with speed and power at the position. Then number 7, not so much the speed and even so much the power, Jarrett Patterson out of Buffalo. He is Devin Singletary, who plays in the NFL at Buffalo, but 5'6", 195 pounds. It's a pretty straightforward evaluation. He's got the vision. He's got the contact balance that you often see from these shorter guys that are so low to the ground that they're almost impossible to tackle at times because there's not a lot of surface area to get your hands on. And even when you do, they're so collected and connected that they just absorb contact and can brush you off in different directions. And they're hard to find in the trenches because they're so small. And Jarrett Patterson is just like that. Devin Singletary, Ray Rice was doing it at a high level back in the day for Baltimore. Now, the one thing with Jarrett Patterson is he didn't have a single reception in his single year, or in his entire year in 2020. Just complete non-factor in the receiving game. So he gets a question mark, a rare question mark on the eval for his receiving ability. Typically, these guys are able to contribute in the screen game, might lack some of that juice to really shake guys in the open field, but someone that can contribute as a check down threat and a guy that can get upfield quickly on screens and make guys miss in space. So I do think he'll be able to do that. I don't think he'll be like Alvin Kamara running great routes or anything. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward evaluation on Jaret Patterson. If you're one of these more inside zone oriented offense that looks for more of that patience, ability to get some more tough yardage in the running game as opposed to more of that home run threat, even though this highlight reel is him making, Toledo or Akron or Kent State. I think it's Kent State I'm showing you in this highlight reel, just running by everybody. Kent State should be embarrassed because Jaret Patterson doesn't really have elite speed. He's got 4.6 speed. I estimated 4.59 for him. It's exactly what he ran. So he is Devin Singletary. If that's your taste, you take Jaret Patterson in the 4th round. Then Michael Carter out of UNC, another comparison I really like. I'm going to be honest, I love my comps on this list. Giovanni Bernard to Michael Carter. I know it's scouting the helmet a little bit. Both guys played at UNC. Carter was kind of the heir apparent to Giovanni Bernard about 5 years ago, but it's for good reason. I mean, he's almost identical size, and just like Giovanni Bernard, I think he can be a starting running back. I don't think he would be a high-level starting running back, but as a relief pitching back, a third down back who's really good in the receiving game, and is a guy that can get you 8-10 carries a game, keep that starting running back fresh, a guy with vision, contact balance, a little bit of power in there, shiftiness, you name it. He is an extremely well-balanced, smaller back with good, not great athletic traits. I just think you know kind of exactly what you're getting here with Michael Carter. He gets all the tough yardage done. He pass protects. He does good routes in the receiving game. So just a very steady option here in the 3rd or 4th round, just where Giovanni Bernard went. Maybe one of the most spot-on comps in this entire draft. Then we got Trey Sermon, which is another spot-on comp I really like out of Ohio State. Marlon Mack, same exact size, 6 foot, 215 pounds. Patience as a runner, good top speed, but takes a little bit longer to get there, and some good power and kind of the long arms to perform a stiff arm, gonna fight for some tough yardage. Just a good quality running back. Now, Trey Sermon had a little bit of a rocky collegiate career. He transferred out of Oklahoma, wasn't able to become the full-time starter there, and then it took some time to really emerge as the star running back for Ohio State. And then right as he was kind of emerging as a potential maybe 2nd-round pick, he gets injured in the national championship game. Just sort of the overall availability of Trey Sermon hasn't always been there in college. So it's a little bit of a red flag. It's nothing major, but it is something you note that he was never really established as the guy in college other than like 3 weeks. So I do like his game. I may be a little bit lower on Trey Sermon. I don't think he's quite as explosive as I think a lot of people think he is. So I do like him. I think he can be a low-end starter just like Marlon Mack, but he's a guy that maybe you do want to eventually upgrade with someone like a Jonathan Taylor at some point along the line. So that's the comp for Trey Sermon. I really like it. Anyone that needs a starting caliber running back right away, I think Trey Sermon or Marlon Mack can basically play any system, do basically everything, just maybe not exceptional upside in Trey Sermon. Then number 4 is a really fun player that I haven't heard a ton of people talk about, so he might end up being one of my guys, but Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis, super fun player, and this is a guy that has not played. He played 1 full season, it was in 2019. He did not play in 2020, so he's only got 1 year, and that was a year where he was splitting reps. He wasn't even the full-time starter, but extremely explosive football player. And my comp for him is another one I like, Austin Eckler. And that's because KG, Kenneth Gainwell, is one of the most efficient, collected, comfortable receivers at the running back position that you'll see. I mean, his ability to track the ball down the field as a vertical threat is real. He's got 4.4 speed. So he is everything we said about Puka Williams as a guy that's kind of profiled as a third down back, well, he can do enough as a runner that you still have to keep the defense, or as the defense, you still have to be honest and protect those runs, just like when Austin Eckler is on the field, who to me is one of the more valuable running backs in the league because he didn't get paid that massive contract, right? So I really like Austin Eckler. I think Kenneth Gainwell is a phenomenal comparison for him as a dude that's going to be a premium receiving back. I think day one you're getting a top 10 receiving running back in the NFL, and then a guy that can be, in the 30s as a runner, a guy that can fight for some tough yardage, definitely break away some explosive runs in the same way that like Austin Eckler or maybe Philip Lindsay would be another physical comp with that long speed, but he's got a little more short area quickness than like a Philip Lindsay. So big fan of Kenneth Gainwell. I do think he's one of the sleepers in this class, and if utilized correctly as a second, even a late second round pick, early third round pick, this guy's going to be a versatile difference maker at the next level. Then another North Carolina running back, Javonte Williams. So I have a high-low comp for him because I really like Javonte Williams, but you never want to get too ambitious with these comps. But anyway, my low comp is Damian Williams. Another Williams, just built just like him, very similar style, kind of that patient running style with some long speed, but a guy that has great contact balance with good home run threat ability. To boot, and a guy that can contribute in the receiving game, will pass protect. So that's kind of worst case scenario is Damian Williams, who's a quality starting running back. But I do think Javonte Williams has the upside to be as good as like Josh Jacobs, who's to me a top 10 running back for the Raiders. And I think Javonte Williams can be that sooner rather than later. So just a little high-low comp there, but the contact balance is phenomenal. This guy is really tough to bring down. He's got that speed. He looks to run dudes over. He's got power. He's an excellent goal line, kind of short yardage back, but he's got instincts in the receiving game as well. He runs good routes. He's got good kind of timing on those check and release blocks. So I like Javonte Williams a lot, second round. I keep mock drafting him to the Miami Dolphins, which I think is a great scheme fit because he can kind of do a little bit of everything as far as your run game and the scheme that you want to run. So Javonte Williams, excellent football player. And number 2, Travis Etienne. My comp for him, Alvin Kamara. Maybe a little more Dalvin Cook as a runner with the Alvin Kamara receiving ability, because I think Etienne, I know he has better long speed than Alvin Kamara, though that's something that Kamara's developed better at the next level. But Etienne he's just smooth. He runs through arm tackles. He's got the home run threat ability. His vision isn't like elite, but it's definitely good enough. He will make you miss in space. What's not to like about Travis Etienne other than maybe his pass blocking ability? But I think part of the reason he's not so good as a pass blocker is why would you use him as a pass protector when he's so good running routes and catching the football and making guys miss? So I think Travis Etienne would have been the highest running back in last year's class, a true kind of first-round talent at the position. And like I said, what's not to like? The dude is insanely explosive and does it all, and he's been doing it for multiple years. There's very little question marks about Etienne other than maybe like wear on the tires. And then my number 1 running back is Najee Harris. And this is a matter of preference. I will say that Najee Harris is a little bit different as far as the physical specimen aspect of it, because it's not that he is as fast or as athletic as Travis Etienne. It's the fact that he's comparable and he's another 25 pounds, 2 inches more. Like, he has that physical it factor about him. People criticize his speed. I get it. He's not Dalvin Cook. He's not Travis Etienne. But his power and vision and just do-it-all ability, and the fact that he does have home run threat ability still, it makes him so much more scheme independent. Like, the reason I keep mocking him to the Pittsburgh Steelers is they've like inside zone about as much as anybody, and power and running between the tackles. They're not like a Shanahan offense where maybe if you weren't a Shanahan offense, you'd prefer Travis Etienne. I think you almost certainly would. But if you're any other type of style, you can do anything with Najee Harris. And I love the fact that he is almost going to guarantee, like, he's kind of similar like Zeke Elliott in that he will always get you 2-3 yards. He does not really go backwards. But what really stands out to me about Najee Harris and why I think he's so special is his foot speed and quickness at 230 pounds. it's rare. Like he has a spin move. He accelerates quickly. He runs great routes in the receiving game. And his length, part of the reason he gets the David Johnson comp is he's built similarly to David Johnson. At 6'1", when you put him out at wide receiver, I actually think he can play actual receiver. Like he's got the length to kind of win some of those tough contested catches, to have good release off the line of scrimmage. I think he's going to bring some of that versatility that Alabama didn't really need to use him at. But I think if you ask Najee Harris to really work at developing those routes and develop more of a release, you could do some of that stuff like the Cardinals used to do with David Johnson, or Le'Veon Bell with the Steelers is another comp people like. I totally can get behind that as well. Le'Veon as well was 6 foot, 6'1", could step outside and actually look like a receiver out there because he's got the size. So I'm a big fan of Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. Either would have been the number 1 running back in last year's class. I keep having these guys go in the first round because I do think they are special physical talents that don't really have any question marks on their tape. So definitely a top-heavy class compared to last year. I think last year maybe had a little more depth, but it's not that I don't like this running back class. I think after these top 2 guys, we're still going to get another star or 2 out of this class. So I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. I spent a lot of time putting together these film cut-ups and all that stuff. I know you guys like to have film in these, so I hope you appreciated it. If you did, please do hit that like button and consider checking out my Patreon to support the channel and get exclusive draft content. This was a lot of fun. My next top 10 videos, I'm aiming to do linebackers on Monday. We'll see if I can get all that edited up in time. Might be a little bit later than that. We will see. But thank you for watching. Peace out, and we'll see you for the next one. Cheers.